Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp.com, and I've been with them for a long time. BetterHelp is an online platform where we found that you can effectively communicate with your therapist. Now, you begin by filling out a questionnaire, and then you'll be matched with a therapist within a couple of days. And if that match isn't ideal for you, you can certainly make an adjustment there. Now, you're going to be encouraged to journal, and also they have the availability for group therapy on a wide array of topics, and I really like that. So as the need exists, go ahead and take the necessary steps to get the help that you need. And just know that BetterHelp has a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, so it indeed is a platform you can trust. There's a link below the video that will take you there. Hey, Team Healthy. Glad to be with you for another episode of Unbound. You'll notice that my loyal guard dog back there, Gus, is asleep. He had a pretty busy morning, actually, with my wife. She's redoing a lot of stuff in our outdoor garden, and Gus is out there helping her out. You know how it is, digging holes, etc. He's a terrier. He likes to do that. So anyway, he's taking a nap. Just try to be quiet as you listen today, okay? Don't wake him up. Okay, it's impossible for us to talk about the topic of surviving narcissism without also using the word boundaries. And one of the things that I have to remind myself is just because we use the word doesn't mean that everybody in our audience quite understands what we're talking about. So we're going to go into that space. What are we talking about when we talk about the subject of boundaries? And then what are we going to do when the narcissist in your life just blows right past the boundaries that you try to establish? So let's, I've got one question about boundaries in general, and then I have a really strong illustration of how this can work. The first person writes in, and keep in mind, the Unbound series is about me responding to comments and questions that you all send in. Please do so. The first person writes in and says, the term setting boundaries isn't a clear enough phrase for everyday people. Okay, that's why we're talking about it. Let's see if we can bring some clarification. It's one of those things that you have to explain in great detail until a better catchphrase comes along. What's your best explanation for the word boundaries? Well, I hope that when we use the term boundaries, it's more than just a catchphrase. But when we talk about boundaries, we're talking about much more than knowing when to tell somebody no and when to just tell them to get away. Okay, it's a lot bigger than that. Let's look at a fourfold process here. Okay. And then I'm going to take the same fourfold process and use it in the example in just a moment. First of all, number one, when we are talking about the need for boundaries, you have a situation in which opinions, preferences, interpretations clash. And you have one way of doing things, you have one way of looking at things and how to approach certain scenarios, and the other individual says, well, I'm not on the same page as you. Now, with normal people, you can say, well, let's talk about it and see if we can get coordinated. But when a narcissist says, I'm not on the same page as you, keep in mind, they're bringing a mindset that says, I have to be in control. And it's all about me and my preferences, and I want to be in the superior position, and I don't really care about what you think and feel. It's all about me. And so there's a clash here, and it sets up a conundrum on the inside of you. Well, what am I going to do with it? Okay, number two, as we figure out what boundaries are, we're going to realize when the narcissist comes toward you with their initiatives and opinions and insistence and agenda, you're going to have certain values that are going to be compromised. They want you to forfeit certain initiatives and certain interpretations. And it's going to be necessary for you to ask, what is it that's going on here that runs counter to my values? Okay, that takes us to step number 3 in our process of understanding boundaries. And it causes you to ask, well, what are my values? How do I define myself? And this is kind of the important ingredient of what boundaries is all about. When we talk about boundaries, we're talking about you having a very well-conceived idea of who you are and what you want to be. One of the questions I would like to ask people is, in the circumstances where you have the greatest amount of tension, what characteristics do you want to have present? And nobody ever says, well, what I want to do is I want to be real super argumentative and I want to be highly defensive. No, you want to have cleanness, you want to have respect, you want to have dignity, you want to have firmness, you want to have resoluteness. There are all sorts of characteristics that we can say. How do you define yourself? And that's something that requires a lot of time and attention, and it changes as the years and decades go by. And then step 4, as you talk about applying boundaries, then the next question is knowing that we clash, knowing that I have specific things that are being compromised, and contrasting that to my definition of myself. How does my definition of myself compel me to act and be? And that's where we go into the implementation. It's no longer theoretical, but it's something that becomes pragmatic. Now, having said that, I want to read to you this is one of these very common kind of scenarios, and then we're going to see how we can apply this mindset. This person writes in and says, my wife's sister is a train wreck. Not a good start. She's got to be the center of attention, and even when she's a guest in our home, she thinks she should be the one calling the shots. She brings high stress to any family get-together. My wife has talked with her at great lengths about backing off of her controlling attitude, but it never goes well, and a couple of times it got really ugly. I say it's our house, and if she can't respect common decency, she's not welcome. My wife agrees. And then here comes the next word. You know what it is? But she feels badly about abandoning her. She has no friends, and we're it for her. How can we convey this without making it any worse? Okay, that last one, you're asking to have total control over the results in an unstable person, and we're just going to have to sidestep some of that. Okay, let's take a look at our four-pronged process of figuring this out. First of all, what priorities and plans are clashing. And you can see right away that the sister-in-law is stepping into the house saying, okay, new sheriff in town, at least for today, and I'm in charge, and it goes back telling everybody what to do and criticizing and all of that. That's a problem, because in their mind, it's like, this is not what we try to stand for in our home. And then number 2, what values are being forfeited or compromised? And we can say that harmony is being compromised, respect, an easy flow of harmonizing decision-making. All of that is being compromised. It's all about her superimposing her agenda. And then we go to the next question, how do you define yourself? Now, the husband is trying to discuss with the wife, the sister of this person, saying, this isn't who we are. In our house, we want to have pleasantness, we want to have friendliness, we want to have coordination, and she comes in like a whirlwind and is overbearing and condescending, and this doesn't fit because we define ourselves very differently. And so you take your definition of who you want to be, and then you ask, can I continue to maintain who I am? Which then leads to step 4. How is my definition of myself, or in this case, our corporate definition of a family, going to need to be acted out when she's in the picture? And this person represents the narcissist, the sister-in-law, that just isn't going to change. I've had so many people talking about a member of the family or a family friend or someone like that who just comes in and it doesn't matter how clearly you express yourself, that person is just going to be dysfunctional. Now, the husband is saying, we just need to make sure that when we have family gatherings, if she's simply not able to coordinate, then she's not invited. And the wife says, yeah, that's a good idea. So right there is what boundaries is. You've got all of this lined up, you've got yourself defined, and then she doesn't fit. And so as part of you implementing your boundaries, you just simply express. If it's asked, she's not invited. Now, sometimes it may be that you'll just have a family gathering and she's just not even notified. That can be a little passive aggressive, but if she does ask, then let her know. Just point blank, whether it's the wife or the husband, whoever's better at articulating it. We've had so many times where we've clashed and it's turned out to be ugly and unruly and disruptive. that we're going to have our plans separately from you at this time. And then the wife is asking, how can we convey this without making it worse? And basically, it's like, well, can we say this in such a way where she's going to receive it well, is basically it. And this person's a narcissist. They bring chaos. They don't have empathy. They've got to be in control. So when you make the statement, they're going to try to blow right by it. And then at that point, I would let it be known, this is why we're saying no. You're not invited, and we're not going to let you in the house. And it can feel cruel, and it can feel awkward. And yet at some point, it's like, well, so do we just let her keep coming and running roughshod over us and our family and other guests that are there when apparently this is a widespread kind of a pattern? And at some point, it's fair to say we're not on the same page, and that being the case, it doesn't look like it's going to be happening anytime soon. We're going to live our lives distinctly from one another. And then if the sister in particular wants to have a relationship with this narcissistic sister, then it's like you can do that, but you can do it separate from family gatherings. That's a good illustration of what we're talking about. So boundaries is more than just saying no, or more than just saying, I will do this or I won't do that. Yes, it's part of it, but having boundaries means that you've examined yourself very thoroughly and you've got a real solid understanding of who you are. There's an analytical thinking. There's a sense of purpose or missionality with respect to how you're going to act. And then that's what guides you. And basically, you maintaining boundaries means that you ultimately consult your own wisdom and well-conceived ideas as opposed to filtering who you are through a very unstable person. So I hope that brings some clarity to the people that have been writing in about this topic. There's so much here. I used to actually do a whole workshop on boundaries, along with my anger workshops way back in the day. And there's a lot going on. There are many elements there. So thank you to the people that have written in. If you have any questions that you'd like for me to address, please put them in the comment section. Who knows, it may be in another episode of Unbound. Now, if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do so. We're going to keep more videos coming your way. Now, all of you know pretty much by now, I'm a retired therapist. I believe strongly in that. Obviously, I gave my entire professional life to that. If you have a need for therapy, for somebody to help you sift this out, we have a sponsor that the link is below, betterhelp.com, and there's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that you can choose from. As the need is warranted, it might be helpful for you to have somebody that can just walk you through the process. So as the need is warranted, go through our link and get the help that would be warranted. Also, I've put together courses. Part of my professional life has been teaching and writing and seminars. And so I've got some now that are virtual and are online. We have my classes. This is all on my website. And the classes are anger games about handling your anger properly. This is me about establishing those boundaries. Free to be, finding yourself despite the controllers, and then Ready, Set, Connect, how to have healthy connections. We also have my 90-minute PowerPoint presentations, hundreds of articles, and then my books. So lots of resources. Narcissists don't respect your boundaries because they don't respect you, but even more importantly, they carry a lot of internal chaos, and they're so caught up in the mess that they've made of their own life that they just spill it over into your world. And there are times when you say, that doesn't fit my definition. And if they just won't respect your definition of you, that's when you enact the consequences and put out the stipulations. That's your boundaries. And so I'm hoping you can be true to who you are. Keep in mind, boundaries is not nearly so much about telling the narcissist no. It's about saying yes to yourself. Say yes to yourself and act upon it. And then if the narcissist doesn't understand, that's not your problem to solve. Stay true. And then in doing so, I'm hoping it can lead you to a much more steady way of living and interacting.